Hello. Right, we are live. Hopefully you can hear me. Just making sure my computer's working properly. It seems to be working okay. So, I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for today because, as you can probably tell, I'm a bit bunged up. I've got labyrinthitis kicking off. I've got vertigo, so I'm feeling a bit dizzy and nauseous. And I'm generally feeling a bit bleh. So, but I was going to colour anyway. If I didn't do the show, I would just be sitting on the sofa colouring, so I might as well just sit at my desk and colour and talk to you guys while I'm here. So that's what we're doing today. Hi Foxy. You'll have to excuse me sniffing and coughing and everything else. I'm just going to open my drink. Look, mango and orange juice. Yummy, yummy. You can see me and hear me. Excellent. So, what do I have for you today? I don't really have any updates. When Frogs Sing 2016 is still available to get hold of on the Halloween special if you're interested. If you go to my website, rhomany.org.uk, you can get the information. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see the big When Frogs Sing 2016 banner if you want to come and join us. It is a Halloween special, so technically it closes on Halloween. But I know in America some people don't get paid till the 1st of the month. And a lot of my students are retired and don't get their payments till the beginning of the month. So I will leave it open for an extra couple of days in November, but not very many. So don't bank on getting the Halloween offer at the end of November. But the 3-month payment plans and things like that will still be available for a while. Probably through to till December. So if you want to get them as Christmas presents or something, you can. For those who don't know what When Frogs Sing is my year-long journaling class. It changes every year and it's mostly me. It's not lots of different teachers, it's me. Every day showing you a bit to do in your journal. But it's not like huge, intense, do a page every day kind of class. It's your commitment is 5 minutes a day. So it's ideal for people who really want to journal but are very busy already and don't have a lot of time to commit extra time to a class. And we'll be doing all sorts of things. Let me see if I can pull a few bits and pieces out of my journal. Here's some of the stuff we've been doing this week actually. I believe this one went up yesterday. This is a class we did using this is a piece from a magazine that I really like the design of, and of course you could just pull this out and put it in your journal if you wanted to, but I thought, well, why not get your watercolours and pens out and recreate some of the design as a page in your journal, so that's rather cute. Excuse me. Hello, California. Then the other day we did this dude who was made from scraps. If you were here for the class the other week when I cut out a piece from a colouring book to use, this was on the same page and it was on a scrap and it was just hanging around my desk. And it just happened that this scrap and this die cut ended up on the desk kind of in this fashion, and I thought, hey, that looks like a scarecrow. So we threw him in here, coloured him in and added some pumpkins. Took about 15 minutes. It's not a difficult page to do, and it's rather cool. I think he's scary. What else have we got? Here's another one. Instead of just cutting out a recipe from a magazine or whatever, very quick sketch, and this is all done in pen, just brown pen. It's nothing else, it's just brown pen and a few bits of paper that seemed appropriate, and I'd already had these stuck into the page, and I used this page for a homemade hot chocolate recipe that I really enjoyed. So lots of different ideas that are really quick and easy to throw into your book. And then for the more adventurous among you, we do collage type stuff. And this is actually not a class piece, but next year we'll be doing a lot more mixed media. And I've been asked to show you a few of the bits and pieces that we will do. So, where is it? There we go. This is actually a tribute page that I did when I was, I was reading Susie Blue's book. So obviously these pages are in the style of Susie Blue. The faces and everything are in Susie's style, which is good practice. You know, go and find somebody's artwork that you like and do a tribute page to them, and you know, show them. You know, try their art out, see how it goes. You might find that, oh, actually, I really like the way she does lips, or you know, I really like the way she does hair, or something like that. And you can start incorporating those techniques into your own art without actually just copying what they're doing. When I draw, here's another one I did that was based on Jane Davenport's artwork. And you can see that very clearly that this looks like a piece that Jane would do. And the other one looks like a piece that Susie would do, or rather it looks like their style, you know. If you saw those, you'd say, oh, she's taken a class with Susie Blue, or she's read her book, or she's looked at Jane Davenport's work. And then I took it a step further and added that, which is a bit more my kind of style, but not quite. But then when you look at something else like this, if I can find one, this book is getting chunky, it's getting hard to find things. This is why I have these tabs, so I can find stuff. But I don't have a tab for my reading list. I need to put one on. Because the girl I'm looking for is next to my reading list. Well, this is more my style of art. Whoops. That was just a very quick sketchy one. You can see I don't do like really heavy outlines or pinickety kind of, it's got to be perfect kind of drawings. I like to sketch. My way of drawing or sketching is the more lines you add, the more the viewer's eye is going to see something that looks right. If you've only got one line to look at, you're immediately going to go, ooh, that doesn't look quite right, if something is a bit off. Whereas if you've got lots of sketchy lines to look at, like if this wasn't symmetrical, you'd know straight away. If either of those faces wasn't symmetrical, you'd go, oh, that's a bit off. It wouldn't look right. And in our heads, it wouldn't look pretty because it's not symmetrical. Whereas I do this kind of stuff with lots of lines, so you can't really tell if it's off because it doesn't matter as much, because your eye is seeing what it wants to see, it's not seeing what's really there. I hope that kind of makes sense. For those who are just joining us, I'm sorry, I'm really croaky today. I've got a touch of labyrinthitis going on. I've also got really bad vertigo, so I'm feeling a bit nauseous, I have to admit. Here's one. That's my style of artwork. Whoops. Now, the thing is about the way I teach art, and I'm not saying that this is better or whatever than anybody else, it's just different. I don't like seeing other people copying what I've done. I don't like looking at people's artwork and going, oh yeah, she's doing a class with Jane. She's doing a class with so-and-so. She's doing a class with so-and-so. She's doing this class. She's doing that class. You can tell because of what they're doing. Which is okay for absolute beginners. You know, I do recommend absolute beginners start with just copying what other people are doing. and, you know, develop their own style from there. That's how you learn. It was good enough for the masters. They used to copy each other. It's good enough for us. However, at some point, you have to stop copying what everybody else is doing and develop your own style. And I do believe that it's possible to learn the technique but not learn the style. And I am very proud to say that in the, what is it now? Since 2008, I've been teaching. So what's that? 7 years? In the 7 years that I've been drawing, I have yet to see anybody do a face that I think, oh, that looks a bit too much like mine. And that's not because my students aren't good. They are good. They're doing other people's classes and reproducing their pages perfectly. So it's not that they can't do it. I think it's down to the teaching technique. And again, that's not saying that I'm any better or worse than anybody else. It's simply the way I teach. I don't just show you how to do this page. I do this page and I show you how the techniques that I'm doing. But the techniques that I'm doing you can use to do any other page you want. You don't copy mine, if that makes sense. And I do encourage my students not to just, here's the page that we're doing today, and copy me. I don't encourage them to do that. Don't forget, if you're wanting to ask questions or say something directly to me, can you put it in caps in the chat, because I don't really read chat while I'm streaming. I do it afterwards. But Foxy's in chat and she knows various different things, and I'm sure she has the links and stuff available. A few people sharing their Instagram links, which is cool, because I do go through the chat afterwards and get people's links. And Bren's just joined us. Hi Bren, thank you for my box. She sent me, what a sweetheart, she sent me the most enormous box. She sent me a cool selection of, I've got them here actually, let me grab them. Maddie, don't chew your feet, sweetheart. The vet lady said you're not allowed to do that. Yes. Here you go, I'll switch you round and show you. Now, why has my camera gone out of focus again? It's a manual camera. It's not supposed to go out of focus. Yeah, she sent me these, which I think are just like cinema bits. Oh, cinema and theatre bits and pieces and handouts. And oh, I've got a card there. I hadn't seen that. New York City Pocket Guide, which has probably got like the shows and stuff, yeah. 2015 Grand Central Special Offers book. So again, good for fodder. A city guide to New York City with some maps and things. Scooby-Doo's sleeping. He's sitting on the bed having a nap because they've been to the park this afternoon. So he's worn himself out. Oh, I spoke too soon. He's awake. Did somebody say your name, Scoob? Maddie's sitting on the sofa chewing her feet, which is naughty. Yeah, so these are pretty cool. They're just like junk mail and stuff, but the thing is, other people's junk mail is really cool. Ooh, Clive Owen. So some more interesting bits. She's pretty, I like her. If nothing else, there's always faces and things to draw. Ooh, she's cool. So yeah, it's a journal fodder to play with. And she sent me about 200 bags of candy corn, bless her. And I've got so many different, I've got the original and I've got fruity ones, which I haven't tried. I haven't opened any of them yet because I've got a bag open already, and I can't open all of them at once and try them because that way leads to Cookie Monsterness. And nom, 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 nom. So I'm trying to open one bag at a time, but she sent me some regular one, and some fruit one, and some autumn flavours one, which I don't know what flavour that is. I suspect it might be things like apple and stuff. And then she sent me one that's got peanut butter. And it's got chocolate on the end. Peanut butter and chocolate. It's just like, oh my God. Scoob, what's the matter? Do you want to come and say hello? Come on then. Come up. Come up and say hello. Come on then. Up, up, up. Come up. Come on then. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on. Come on, up you come. Up. Oh, he wants to say hello. He wants to say hello. Hello. He's full of beans again. Look. Come on then. Up you come. Come on then. Hello. Say hello. Woo, woo, woo. Come on then. Hello. Oh, mwah. Hello, little boy. How you doing? Maddie, stop chewing your feet. Oi! Stop it. She's got a grass allergy. So she chews her feet a lot. But she's making them sore because they're always damp and wet. Little bugger. Oh, whoa, 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 rah, rah. Is that right? Oh, you're full of it, you are. Do you want Miss Maddie to go play with you? Go get her. He's doing his little dance. He's got this little dance he does when he wants attention. He goes with his feet. It's so funny. Hello, darling. Oh, yeah, you're a good boy. Right. Oh, yeah, I was going to open this, wasn't I? She sent me a card. I didn't even know there was a card in there. Sorry, Bren. Oh. Oh, I like that one. Let me see if I can show you this without showing you her messages. Halloween, rule number 1. Choose your costume wisely. He's got dogs chasing him through the park because he's dressed as a fire hydrant. I love that. That's so cute. And I've got, I don't know what these are. I didn't even see these. Halloween stickers. Oh my goodness me. They'll be going all over the place. Aren't these cool? Oh, let's take them out and have a look. Oh, thank you so much, Bren. It's really kind of you. Oh. Why is this not focusing? It's making me feel dizzy. There we go. It is dark, yes. The clocks change tomorrow, or tonight. So this time tomorrow, it'll be an hour later than it is now. Which completely screws with my head for a week. Currently it's 6:30. This time tomorrow it'll be 7:30. Or will it be 5:30? I don't know. Spring forward into summer, fall back into winter. Oh, it'll be 5:30. So this time tomorrow it'll be an hour earlier. It still does my head in either way. You know me and time zones. Oh, aren't these cool? I've got 4 sheets of stickers here. Look at that creepy spider with his little shoes. He's got little witchy shoes on. Oh, those are so cute, Bren. Thank you. So I should be playing with those. So, colouring books today. You've probably seen in the title that today's colouring books is featuring a new book by HelenAsiaArt because, yeah, The World and the Wife is doing colouring books right now, and because of that, The World, the Wife and Their Dog is bringing out colouring books that are by specific artists and stuff like that. This is still not in focus, is it? Give me a second. If it makes you feel queasy, shut your eyes now. There. That's better. There we go. It's a little bit off kilter, but it's better than being out of focus. There we go. Yay, finally. It's my fault, I changed my camera setup earlier. Yeah, so everybody and their wife and their dog is bringing out a colouring book, but there are few that I've seen that are something I would pay money for, honestly. This one was sent to me by a friend of mine, Helen Sim. She's a cosplay friend. This is her artwork, and she said, you know, just have a look at one. I said, she said she'd brought it out, and I said, well, send me one and I'll review it and have a look through, and you know, it's all the big thing at the moment. So this is what it's like inside, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. It's a lot more detailed and ornate than I was expecting it to be. And it's certainly the most ornate one that I've seen by an independent artist so far. It's a lot more along the lines of the professional colouring books. I love this one. It looks like Maddie. Except her ears stick up, they don't flop over like that. It's really thick paper. I don't think you could colour on this. Well, it's slightly shiny. You might be able to colour on it with Copics. We'll try it in a minute with alcohol markers. It's possible that you could colour on it with markers, but it would certainly take anything else you threw at it. It's really heavyweight paper. It's not thin paper at all. So there's lots and lots of kitties, because it does say it's colouring kitties, but it's other magical beasties as well. Use all the colours. That's what I do. So that is a... That kind of looks like a pug elephant with a moustache. They are beasties, they're not actual... Some of them are actual animals, like that's obviously an owl, but some of them are just beasties. And they're rather cool. Oh, a bat. I like him. Very big-eared bat. So yeah, I was quite impressed with this one. I like this one. He looks like a pug with a moustache. He looks like a cat with a turban. They're very intricate designs, and I like the way the central design is very heavy, but the background is light, so you can do the background completely different if you wanted to. More like a Siamese type cat. I think she likes pugs. What do you reckon? And yes, she is a friend of mine, but she's not paying me to show you this or anything. She said she'd brought one out, and I said, oh, send me one and I'll review it for you. I hadn't actually seen it in advance. Oh, this is nice. This is kind of like a mandala, but not quite like a mandala. It's like a cross between a mandala, a kaleidoscope, and a Zentangle. That's really interesting. That'll be fun to colour. Especially because you can see these are broken up, these triangles are broken up, so you can see the background design behind the foreground design, so that's interesting. Hi Amy, who's not Amy. Oh, I didn't realise there was mandalas and stuff in here as well. That's cool. So there's Helen's information. It's HelenAsiaArt.com, Facebook.com, Art of Helen Asia. And you can buy the book itself on her Etsy shop, which is, I believe, HelenAsiaArt. She doesn't have her Etsy shop on the link. Oh, she sent me the link earlier. Hang on. Let's have a look. Yes, HelenAsiaArt, all one word, on Etsy. And it's a UK shop, so it's probably easiest to go to the UK site and find her, because we've got a different link. But you'll also find her on facebook.com, Art of Helen Asia. And she does comics, illustration, geekery and cats. I like her business card, that's cool. It's kind of like the Anamorphia thing but with bones. Like this is all, it's like a human rib cage with little kawaii cats all over. So yeah, if you want one of these, pop over to her Etsy store. Like I say, she is an independent artist. She's having these printed herself. That it's not through a company or anything like that. You are supporting 100% an independent artist if you purchase one of these, not a company. And I'm not getting anything for it. I just got a copy of the colouring book. But what I did do is purchase a second copy to give away. Woohoo! So after the stream, I will put a link on my blog, rhomany.org.uk, to a rafflecopter where anybody who's here can go and check it out and maybe win a copy. And I'll send that out to you. If you've got an A5 Midori, of course, you could use this in your Midori. I've got a Hobonichi. Let's put this in the back instead of getting everything caught up. I'm pretty sure I could slip this into here. Yep, I could slip that into there and have it as my planner, so I've got something creative to do if I wanted to take it with me. So obviously if you've got Midori A5 then, or even a Moleskine size one, you could pop this in there. It's a good size to take with you and have a play. So, should we do a colour? Victor, hello Victor, Mr. Victor Crafter, Martha, Jamie, Janet, Amy, who's not Amy, Foxy I've already seen. There's lots of people aren't talking in chat at the moment, so I don't know who you are, but hello. Let's do one of these, shall we? Which one should we do? I'm not going to do one of the patterns. I'm suffering from vertigo today, and one of those patterns would do my head in. Let's do one of the simpler ones. Should we do the one that looks like Maddie? Because I can follow that one. I don't think that'll make me feel queasy doing that. For those who don't know, I have Meniere's in my ears, which means I'm subject to labyrinthitis, which means I get vertigo a lot, especially when the weather changes and I start getting okay, hopefully that's come back. Hello, Miss Maddie. Hello, what are you doing? Come and tell me what you're doing. What are you up to? Come and tell everybody what you're up to. You're after my juice, aren't you? You should see the look she's giving my carton of juice. It's not finished yet. When it's finished, she likes to tear it apart and lick it out, because she's weird. But she can't have it because it's not empty yet. No. It's not empty yet. See? It's not finished. You can't have it yet, darling. No, she's huffing at me. Are you going to come up and say hello? No? Okay then. As we were saying. Yeah, sorry about that. My streaming thingy crashed. I don't know why. Having a day. My computer is running a lot cooler and a lot faster because I cleaned it out. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen how much I cleared out of the vents. I took my computer apart. Yes, I took my MacBook Pro apart and cleaned the vents. Don't worry, I know how to do it. Used to be my job. Let's do this as a Miss Maddie type thing. So I'm using these are the Koi watercolours. And yes, it'll be at an angle because I have to draw at an angle. I'm sorry. Your dad gets vertigo. Yeah, it's not fun. The worst part of it, actually, it's not being sniffly or not being able to hear yourself speak properly or anything like that. I can even cope with the water in your ears kind of feeling. The worst part is the nausea, because anything that hits your inner ear makes you feel really nauseous. And especially anything like going on a bus or anything, it's completely out. I haven't left the house for a week because I can just about manage to take the dogs around the park. That's about as much as I can do. And even then I have to keep stopping and letting my equilibrium slow down or level out. Right, so I'm going to do the dog. Oh, I was going to test it with alcohol markers, wasn't I? Oh, there's nowhere to test it that it won't show. Let's try it on one of these because I'm unlikely to use one of these anytime soon. I'm not a big fan of mandalas and kaleidoscope patterns. So let's try it on here with, let's just colour in this corner. And I'm deliberately colouring it in like you would colour, rather than just doing a blot and testing it. It's not too bad, actually. I mean, you couldn't just colour on one side. You couldn't colour Copics on this side and then on the other side. It would bleed through. But it's not as bad as you would think. So that just shows you how thick the paper is. The paper is a little bit shiny. I'm not sure how it's going to take watercolour. But I use very little water with my watercolours. Ends up in hospital because of the nausea. Oh no. I end up lying on the sofa watching a lot of Netflix. Which sounds like fun, but honestly, when you've got work to do, it's not fun. Although yesterday was fun. I sat and watched season 3 of Hemlock Grove. Oh my god. Right. I'm going to do this in Maddie's colours because I do think it looks a bit like Maddie. Miss Maddie. Every time I say her name, she comes running over. It's not finished yet, my love. Sorry. Miss Maddie has lovely brown eyebrows, so I'm going to start with doing this bit of brown here. Yeah, it's not taking watercolour massively well. It's kind of spreading. You know, like when it kind of pulls into bits, but it is going on okay. I don't think you could use much more water with it. You could certainly use acrylics on this. Absolutely use acrylics on this. It would take it beautifully. So she has little brown eyebrows and she has little brown cheeks there. And there. And she's got kind of a white bit that goes around there. So now, Maddie's a black dog. You've not seen Hemlock Grove, Jude? Oh my god. Get yourself on Netflix, girl. You'd love it. It's vampires and werewolves and weird, creepy, sci-fi, medical, biomechanical stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, Maddie is black, but if you use black, you're not going to be able to put much over the top. So what I'm going to do instead is use Payne's Grey. because that way you can add brown or shades of grey or whatever. You can put other colours on top of black, obviously, but I think it would be better with a little bit of Payne's grey. I'm going to leave this area of her ear. Actually, no, I'm going to cover that bit in grey as well, because I can do it white again. What I am noticing about this is that the colour, the ink itself is resisting the water. So I'm actually getting a lot more of the... Oh, Scooby-Doo singing? You singing? I'm getting a lot more of the ink showing than I do on other books, because it tends to just cover over with watercolour, but I don't know if you can see what's happening. It's such a cool effect. Maybe that'll show you there. Can you see how the ink is actually resisting the water? And the water is pooling in the sections. It's really cool. Oh, I watched Coven as well. Yeah, Coven is one of my favourites. And I watched season 4 as well. It's not steampunk, but it has got some steampunk in it. Well, no, not... It's not steampunk. It's more... Think Frankenstein with werewolves and vampires, but modern day. That's how I describe it. It even has a Frankenstein character. But yeah, I watched the whole thing because it's the last ever series now. And I just sat there for ages afterwards, with my mouth was literally hanging open by the end of episode 9. I was feeling quite traumatised. Oh, Scooby-Doo's singing. Hi, Scooby-Doo. I'm going to bring this brown in a little bit more, otherwise it's going to end up all black, and I don't want it all black. So I'm just going to bring this in just a little bit more. Because she does have quite brown cheeks. It's quite quiet today, so I'm managing to keep up with chat. I don't normally keep up with chat very well. I loved Stevie Nicks in Coven. She was fabulous. And I liked Misty, the character who liked Stevie Nicks. She was very cool. I think actually the Voodoo Queen was my favourite character. I think she was really, really awesome. But yeah, Hemlock Grove, if you haven't seen it, oof. Time to watch all 3 seasons back to back. That's what I should be doing again later. They're only like 10 episode seasons, so it's a Netflix exclusive, so it's not a full length show or anything like that. Even I can't get through 24 episodes in an evening. Now, even though this is going to be mostly black, I'm doing it in sections because for me that is just easier to do it that way. And again, like I say, some of this will be white by the time I'm finished. If you're just joining us, hello, and welcome to the show. Sorry, I'm a bit snuffly. I've got some ear and throat things going on today. This colouring book is by a friend of mine called HelenAsia. She's an independent artist, and if you want to get a copy of it, you can get it on HelenAsiaArt at Etsy. It is a UK Etsy store, so sometimes you have to put UK in the link depending on where you are from. These are entirely created and printed and everything else independently, so they're not through a company or anything like that, they're just Helen. Okay, Miss Maddie has a bit of a black section, and then she has kind of a white section and a black section again. So I think what I'm going to do is, this is a black section coming down both sides of her nose there. And then on both sides of her nose, she's got a white section. So I'm going to leave this section white for now. And then this section is all black. Is that a tongue sticking out, do you think? Almost looks like a tongue, doesn't it? I don't think it is. I think this is the lower part of the mouth here. So she's got little white bits there, and then under here I'm going to do this bit black here on either side. Going down to there. On this side. She has two little white patches, and then she's got a white chin. And then she's got a white chest, so that's, I think that's about right. Her eyes are all black, so I'm going to go back in and do those now. Leave the white of the eye. Now, what I do with these is I go over them with coloured pencil afterwards. So I always put on the lightest colour, because you can always go darker, but you can't always go lighter. So that's why I'm using a grey, Payne's Grey. Lemon, ginger and honey, yeah, it doesn't do anything for earache. I don't have a cold. Your daughter's going to see Crimson Peak. Oh, Crimson Peak is amazing. I didn't get out to see Witch Hunter this weekend. I wanted to go and see it last night, but I didn't get out there. But I'm hoping to go on Tuesday, and I might see Crimson Peak again as well if it's on. Go away. It's not that scary, Bren. There are a couple of bits where I would say it's gory in a couple of places, but it's not scary. It's a psychological thriller. If you like Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre and stuff like that, that's what it's like. It's a gothic horror. It's not like, you know, horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It's a love story, but it's a romantic gothic horror. So it's like, I found it very much like watching something like Macbeth at the theatre, to be honest. If you pretend you're at the theatre and you keep in mind that the ghosts, when they appear, are not, they're not meant to be CGI graphic type stuff. They are actually people. They actually had people on a green screen doing them, like when you did Gollum. It's like Woman in Black, yes. Very much so. While you're watching it, it can be a bit scary, but when you walk out of the cinema, you're not sitting there thinking, oh my God, that was really scary, I wish I didn't go and see that. It can make you jump at the time and think, oh goodness me, what's going on? But it's not, you wouldn't be like hiding under your seat or anything, I don't think. Oh, Jude, you'd love it. Yes, Woman in Black is creepy rather than, it's not scary, it's creepy. If you're easily scared, I wouldn't recommend you go and see it on your own, and I wouldn't recommend you go and see it at night. Go and see like an afternoon. Yes, it's like, yeah, Woman in Black, The Others, all that kind of stuff. Very much the same. There were sections in The Others that made me jump, but not because they were scary, just because I wasn't expecting it. But it's very much the same kind of thing. I liked The Others as well. I knew what was going on. I knew what was going to happen with Crimson Peak as well. If you know Gothic literature well enough, as soon as it starts, you know what's going to happen. Well, before it starts, you know what's going to happen because it's Gothic literature. Daniel Radcliffe was excellent in The Woman in Black. And for somebody so young, I was impressed. The reason I was impressed with Daniel Radcliffe in Woman in Black is because at the time, all he'd done was Harry Potter. So he was used to having a supporting cast and lots of people telling him what to do. He was a child actor. He'd never known anything different. And suddenly he did this thing where he was really the only character in it. Yeah, the second one's pretty good as well. It's not as good, but it's pretty good. It's interesting. It's a bit more scary horror type than proper gothic. But yeah, the first one, I was so impressed with Daniel Radcliffe being able to carry a film like that on his own as basically a child actor was really, really good. But Crimson Peak is along the same lines. Right. So her eyes come across as very black brown, but as I said, I always use the lightest colour as the underpainting, because you can always add dark to it, but you can't take it away. You can't really make it lighter. So her eyes are going to be kind of a dark brown, but what I'm going to do to start with is use a very light brown. That way we can add colour. And obviously dogs don't have highlights in their eyes like we do. So I'm actually going to colour this section as well. Because we can put like a yellowy colour or a goldy colour over that quite easily. I'll leave the whites of her eyes. I'm going to get a very, very dark brown for her nose, even though she's got a black nose. I just want to make it distinguished from the black of her face. Because if you go over grey with black, it's going to be a different colour than if you go over brown with black. There we we go. And for the white, I'm going to go in with white. And the only reason I'm doing that is because this paper is really slick. And if I try and use a white pencil on it... Hi, Scoob. If I try and use a white pencil on it, it's going to just slide all over the place. Putting down some paint gives it a little bit of tooth. Especially with these koi colours, because even though they don't look chalky, they feel chalky. They feel kind of rough. You can actually feel the difference between the paint and the paper. You can hear the difference. Is that picking up on camera? I hope so, because you can actually hear the difference. And believe me, if I can hear the difference. You're off. Okay, Martha, thanks for joining us. There will be a replay up later, as long as it records properly. Did I put colour in there? I can't. The problem with doing white is you can't tell if you've done it already. Oh dear. And this is dry now, so I can pop a little bit in there. And she does have the little white patches on her ears. So what I'm going to do is just go over that grey with the white to make it a little bit lighter. So it's not white white, it's kind of a grey white. There we go. And now we must make it dry. Heat gun, there we go. When you're waiting for it to dry, don't forget that the top layer of paint can look and feel dry and it can still be wet in the paper underneath. So this is still damp. That's why I dry it from the back as well. There we go. Just have a drink. Haunted. I've seen one called Haunted recently. I'm not sure if it's that one though. Kate Beckinsale. Is that the one about the school? Because that's really good. There's one about a school where she's a medium, scientist, seance type, Victorian Ghostbuster. And she goes to a school while it's closed for the holidays. I love those kind of movies because it's so obvious to tell what's going to happen right at the beginning. Shall I do the background? Or shall I wait? Ugh, decisions. Yeah, let's do the background. I'm going to use a bigger brush for this because I just want to put a colour down. So I'm going to use, I think, pink. Because it's Maddie and Maddie likes pink. She's like me. She's a pirate goth dog, but she likes pink. As long as it's bright pink. The Awakening! That's it. That's the one. That was really good. I really enjoyed that film. I had a suspicion what was going on, but I couldn't, there was nothing to actually prove it. That you weren't given clues. I just suspected that that's what it was because I'm familiar with the formula. But then at the end, they actually showed you all the clues, and I was like, oh, I didn't spot that one. So that was quite good. I was quite entertained by that one. So I'm just putting a colour wash down on this, again, just to take the shininess off the paper, really, because adding paint will give you depth. You could do this with watered down acrylic as well. You don't have to use watercolours if you don't have them. Obviously, if you don't have them, you can't use them, but you know what I mean. You can use watered down acrylics if you prefer, I should say. And of course you can use watercolour pencils or Inktense with these, and you know, do a section and then wet it. That's another good way of colouring them in. Oh, slasher movies are hilarious. The Scream series is my favourite. I like Saw as well, but Scream is funnier. Most horror movies just make me laugh. We went to see Paranormal 1, and I laughed so hard. The usher actually said, if you don't stop laughing, we're going to have to ask you to leave the cinema. Yeah, it's just a dish rag. I do that because if I don't do this and then clean my brush on it, I end up doing that. Wiping my brush on it, or wiping my brush on my jeans. That's another one. Yes, actually there's quite a few uses for masking fluid. I've got mine here. If you wanted to keep the highlights white or something, or you know, something like that, or if you've got very tiny details and you want to do an overall colour, yeah, you can absolutely use masking fluid. Just don't leave it on too long because the paper is not normally very good. Paranormal Activity is hilarious. I just find them really, really funny. All right, thanks for joining us, Bren. See you later. I just find horror films really funny. I don't know why. I just... The only one that really creeped me out recently was the Babadook. He was freaky. I didn't like him at all. But I wasn't scared. Just like, ugh, don't like him, you know. But I watch serial killer documentaries, so I'm not... My measure of am I scared is not the best one to go by. Oh, I don't like Derek Akura. He gets on my nerves. His accent, more than anything, gets on my nerves. I do like Ghost Adventures, though. Like a bit of Zach. Right, that's dry now, so... Now, I could just colour all these individual bits in black, but I think that would be a bit boring, frankly. Now that I've got grey on, I can use other colours over the top and give it a little bit more depth. So I've got a purple, I've got an indigo, I'm going to need my dark brown, I'm going to need my light brown, I'm going to need my gingery brown to do eyes, I've got a very, very dark blackberry colour here. Which needs sharpening. The wood on this one's split, unfortunately, so it's a bit funny about being sharpened. It's literally got split right the way down the side. I prefer the paranormal investigation ones, where they basically take two mediums and tell them there's a missing person, and they have to find out who it is and where it is and everything else. I prefer that. I don't think there's much hope of sharpening this one. The wood's split all the way down, but we'll give it a try at the other end, because I do like this colour. Oh. No! Failed. No, I think that one's dead. The new Prismacolors, the wood is very hard. And it's prone to breaking. These are very new ones. With the new, these are the Premiere. And the wood of them is much harder than these old ones I've got. Let's find a different purple. Excuse the noise. Prismacolors and Faber-Castell Polychromos, before somebody asks. Right, so I've got a selection of blues and purples and browns, basically. When you use colour pencils over watercolour, it seems it just flakes the watercolour paint. What do you mean by it flakes the watercolour paint? Killer Speaks, is that where they interview the ones in jail or something? I've seen one where it's like an investigator and a convicted criminal and a criminal psychologist all looking into unsolved crimes. That's really interesting. Yeah, I don't find listening to the serial killers particularly interesting. I find the psychology behind it interesting. I'm a big Criminal Minds fan. generates paint and dust and dilutes the look. Well, it could be the combination of whatever it is you're using. What kind of watercolours and what kind of pencils are you using? If you're using very cheap watercolour paints, then it could be chalk coming off the paints. Same with the pencils, if you're using cheaper pencils. If you're using good quality ones, then you shouldn't be getting that. Okay, so we could colour all of these individual bits in different colours, or we could take sections and colour them in. I think what I want to do is find out how the black ink responds to... Yeah, if you're just using basic stuff, most of it is chalk filler. I would say if you're happy with your colour pencils and how they work in general, I would say upgrade your paints, because that's going to be cheaper. It's going to be easier to get a little set of, like, just a little watercolour set of 10 or 12 travel paints, something like a student grade watercolour, and then go over it with chalky pencil and you'll get a much better result. Because you could upgrade your pencils, but that's really expensive. So if you're happy with how your pencils work, upgrade your paints. Or try acrylic paints, try acrylic craft paints and see if those work. Crayola pencils are amazing. I love Crayola pencils. Crayola paints, pencils, I swear by my watercolour pencils. I've still got in here, that's my watercolour pencils. Crayola brand watercolour pencils, they're the Crayola Pro. We can't get the Crayola twistables here. We've got the we've got these are the Gecko ones, which are the same as the Maped. But Crayola, the colour is so deep for student grade stuff. Crayolas are more vibrant, yeah. Yeah, I would say upgrade, if you can't deal with the chalk, upgrade your watercolours to a student grade. So something like a little Cotman's or Winsor watercolour palette along those lines is what you're looking for. It doesn't necessarily have to be Cotman's or Winsor & Newton. It could be, you know, anything that's student grade, as long as it doesn't look chalky. What you're looking for is something that looks... I haven't got all my colours here to hand to show you. But if you look at these don't look clear. They look chalky. They look like thick paste colours. And that's because they are a little bit chalky. They're very vibrant, but they are chalky in texture, and I quite like that for colouring over. But if you have too much chalk, if you have... Let me see. If you look at these, you see how chalky that looks? That is obviously full of chalk. You can just tell just by looking at the colour. It's muted. It's not a clear, vibrant colour. This is also not a clear, vibrant colour, but it's a much better clear, vibrant colour than that one. But if you compare that to... these. Now, because I layer, I don't have very expensive watercolours. I don't have Daniel Smiths or anything. These are the Winsor & Newton ones. But if you compare those colours to this, can you see just by looking at them? Now let's do it that way. Can you see the difference in the colours just by looking at them? And these look slightly glossy in the palette. They look slightly glossy. They look clearer. They look less chalky, basically. That's why it's coming off. It's coming off because it's chalky. That's what I'm explaining. It's cheap. It's cheap chalk filler. The more expensive your watercolours, the more pigment you've got and the less binder you've got. So by the time you get down to this bargain basement stuff that's like £1, it's mostly chalk. It's 80% chalk and a bit of colour. And a little bit of binder. Whereas these are, 25% pigment, sort of 40% binder, and a little bit of chalk just to fill it out and make them last a bit longer. If you get Daniel Smith watercolours, they're almost pure gum arabic and binder. Gum arabic, which is a binder, and pigment. Yeah, I don't use this set as much as I should. I tend to keep it for when I'm doing commissions, because I really like this set for layering. I tend to use this set for commissions, but unfortunately that means they're sitting here going unused, so I may have to start using them more. Maybe I could start using these when I'm at my desk and use these ones when I'm travelling. What did I drop on the floor? Oh, there we go. The other thing is, if your pencils are mostly chalk, like Prismacolors are a wax-based pencil. They're very creamy, they're very, very soft, they go on smoothly. If you press too hard, you get what they call wax bloom, which is basically just a layer of wax that you can't blend over anymore. And you'll get to the point where you can only add so many layers, which is one of the things I don't like about Prismacolors, actually. I do like them, and they're great for blending, but at a certain point you can't go any darker with them because you can't put any more layers on. The Faber-Castell Polychromos, these are oil-based, so they're very, very hard, and you don't get quite as much colour payoff, but you can layer to your heart's content. I have not found a limit to the amount of layers I can add that will keep giving colour payoff with these. Just when you think you've got it as dark as you can go, you put on another layer and it goes a bit darker. Crayola pencils are very good quality. They're actually oil-based. They will have some filler. So your Crayola pencils are probably not the problem. I love Crayola pencils. I use them a lot. Like I say, my favourite watercolour pencils are my Crayolas. In fact, they're the only watercolour pencils I've got. I've got some Intense, but I prefer my Crayolas. So it's unlikely to be the Crayolas because they are not particularly chalky. They're oil-based. So, yeah, upgrade your paints is the easiest answer. Just get a better quality set of like 12. You don't need masses of paint if you're layering. You certainly don't need a 45 colour set. I have this set because I do watercolours on their own. So if I do commissions, I will do mostly watercolour and then I will use some pencil to pick out the extras. But most of the time I use my koi set. I love these koi watercolours. If you want to invest in some decent ones, get these koi ones. They're lovely. If you can get them straight from Japan, they're pretty cheap. They just take a while to arrive. And I recommend these ones to my students. If they did, when they didn't have watercolours at the beginning of the year, I told them to save up and get a set of these. And if you get the 24 set, it's got a flesh tone in it as well. Of course you can mix a flesh tone with the 12 set, but okay, let's do, I want to see how the pencils go over the colour first. So I'm going to use, I think, the indigo, because that's as near to black without going black. So I'm going to use the indigo first and just see how it colours over the black. So let me think about where the light would shine. Would be probably down the centre of her nose. So let's put some black, some blue in there. I'm going to blend that out into some brown. Because most blacks are not true blacks. Now, depending on what base you've used, you may or may not be able to colour more or less over your watercolours. Like, for instance, with acrylic, if you're using craft acrylics, which are quite chalky but they don't come off the paper like watercolour chalks do. With craft acrylics, you'll get a much more vibrant colour with your pencils. So you're not going to get bright colour with coloured pencils over the top of watercolour, but it will be bright enough. It'll be brighter than the paint on its own. There we go. And of course I'm doing both sides of the dog the same, but you don't have to. You could do it kind of completely different, or opposites, or whatever you want. You could do every single patch a different colour. Which would be good to do if you're using pens. If you're using felt tips, you could do every single one of these a different colour. And I think what I'll do is do this bit in blue. Oops, that was a bit too dark. And I'll blend that into the purple. Yeah, you know, the more I use Prismacolor, the more I like my polychromos. I think, Bill. It's funny, some people just absolutely adore Prismacolor, and I do like them for large areas, but when I'm doing stuff like this, I still prefer the polychromos. I just like the harder pencils. I find it very frustrating when you have to keep sharpening your pencil because you've lost the point yet again. I think we could do with dark red in here as well to balance out the brown. Find a very dark red colour. Is that the purple I've already got? Yeah. I've got some duplicates because I bought a set of 24 of the polychromos. No, I bought a set of 12 and then I bought a set 48 because I loved them so much. I upgraded to get more colours. And I was going to give the 12 set to Foxy, actually, but the day I was going to give it to her, she turned up with a full set of more colours than I had. Let's have a pink as well. Hi Scoob, are you singing? We need that pink. Oh, that's the same. Is that the same colour pink? Oh, that's a Conti pencil. That shouldn't be in there. Hi Scoob. Are you singing? You singing? Hi. Are you singing to us? Let's have a dark green as well. Ah, there we go. Come here. So let's put a green and red in here. Notice I'm using opposite colours, like indigo and light brown. Not exactly opposite each other on the colour wheel, but brown and orange are opposites. So when they mix, they become like a teal colour. So I'm going to use red and green. Hi baby boy, what's the matter? Do you need to go out? What do you want? Show me. Show me. Do you need a wee wee? Do you need a wee wee? Potty break. Sorry. Hang on. Back in a second. Come on then. Yes, come on then. Good boy. Yes, you are. There we go. That's him sorted. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Hi, love bug. Hello, Pixie. Right. I've got the bright lights on today, so it's quite hard to see what I'm colouring because it's catching the reflection. Normally when I'm colouring, I use my desk thing and I colour that way. So actually you can see it better that way too, can't you? You see how it's black, but it's not black black. That's what I'm trying to get to. Incidentally, let me grab my... You can see that okay, can't you? Yeah, that'll work much better for me. If you are someone who suffers with repetitive stress injury or iris eye or anything like that, colouring is a really good way to learn to use your other hand. I mention that because I tend to use both hands when I'm colouring. I'm known for doing this. I've got a slight advantage because I learned to write with both hands. But it's a lot easier than drawing, but it teaches you to control your left hand. So if you struggle with, or your other hand, your non-dominant hand. So if you struggle with RSI or arthritis or anything like that, writer's cramp, learn to colour with your other hand and you'll be able to give your main hand a rest, your dominant hand a rest. Same colour. No. That's brown and purple. So I'm getting some nice purple tones in here now. So it's still black, it's still dark, but it's pretty colours. It's not just plain black. So if you just joined us, this book, I'll just give you a quick flip through. This is a book by Helen Sims, who's an independent artist. She's a friend of mine. She sent it to me to review. But I liked it so much, I've bought a copy to give away to you guys. So if you go to my blog later, rhomany.org.uk, I'll put a link down below. There'll be a giveaway where you can get a... I love him with his little moustache. She's got a thing about Frenchies and pugs with moustaches. Another little pug. He's cute. And then there's some like mandala type stuff at the back. So it's not a very big book, but you can get it on her Etsy store, HelenAsiaArt. The bat is awesome, isn't he? That's another one that would be really good to do in lots of different colours of black. No, I think it's a bat. It's kitties and other beasties. Other magical beasties. So it's not, I don't think it's really... This is a particular... Oh, I mean, that's obviously an owl. But what the hell is that? It's vaguely cat-like, but... It's got eyes like an owl. And what the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. I think it's some kind of dog, but... It also kind of looks like it's got tentacles coming out of its mouth, which is a bit strange. So there's all sorts of weird and wonderful creatures in here. But predominantly cats, because that's what she does, geekery and cats. And there's some flamingos at the front with bills like toucans. But I like this one because it looks a bit like Miss Maddie. Scoob, what's the matter with you now? You've just been for a wee. You've had your dinner. You want attention, don't you? Mm-hmm. You do, I know. But you're going to have to wait because Mummy's busy. Mummy's working. Me poor. Good boy. There you go. You've had some attention. Go play for a minute. Go play with Miss Maddie. So yeah, it's just a case of combining all these colours to get different blends, if you like. And these really tiny bits, not really worth blending them out. Might as well just do a solid colour. But with these little pieces, I do this thing. I used to do it at school where you scribble, and then you'd have like 3 colours, and you couldn't put 2 colours the same next to each other. It was like a game against yourself to see if you could do it. So you could have like 2 corners meeting like that, and those could be the same colour. But if they were like that, then they couldn't be the same colour if they had a line between them. Yeah, kept me amused for hours, that did. Oh, I've coloured in the wrong bit there. Never mind. That's because I'm talking. So yeah, these tiny little bits I wouldn't bother blending. I'd just colour them. Oh, shush, Scoob. It's hard to see what I'm doing. It's catching the light. So it's getting a sheen on it because it's oil, and the polychromos are oil based and the Prismacolors are... Oh, it does look like a Sharpay, yeah. Yeah, now you mention it. Maybe it is a Sharpay, because he has lots of wrinkles, doesn't he? He still looks like he's got a moustache, though. She's got a thing about drawing dogs with moustaches. Let's do a blue and green. So these two sections are next to each other. So what I'm doing is one is green into blue and one is green into blue. Or blue into green. I'm swapping the colours over. I think they could do with darkening up a bit, so I'm going to grab a dark brown and just put it in the very corner, layered over. That's better. Okay, so this is green. This is a neat trick if you're doing dark drawings as well, which obviously I do a lot. Like those Halloween drawings I've got, the Halloween colouring books. Paint the whole thing in grey and put your colours over the top, and they'll be completely different to if you did them over a white surface. And obviously you don't have to just use grey, you can use grey, brown, dark blue, anything that is a dark colour to take away the whiteness, and that will give your pencils a different kind of dual quality, dual tone quality. And when I say dual tone, I mean D-U-A-L. No, I don't mean D-U-A-L, I mean J-E-W-E-L. Dual, like rubies and things. So, there you go. That's what he's looking like so far. Or she. We could do with a bit of blue up at the top there. Where's that purpley violet gone? Let's use that one. And purpley red. And purpley brown. And I'm not pressing hard with these pencils. If you want something a bit harder, more hard colour, just go back in and go over it again. Especially with the polychromos or any oil-based pencil like the Crayolas. You can just go in and layer to your heart's content. It's the waxy pencils that you're going to have trouble with, because eventually you won't be able to put any more over the wax. Paper's holding up quite well. It's not pilling or anything. It's not even really coming through on the back. I mean, I'm not pressing hard, but even so, you can't feel the indentations or anything. So that's good. It's nice quality paper. So that's where we're up to now. I'm going to do the green a bit darker on that section there. That's better. And that was a bit missing there, so I'll just colour that bit in. It's got a section on there that it doesn't have on this side, so I'm just colouring that in black over the green. And I think I will let's use the reddish colour. Let's try the lighter brown to give that a little bit of a highlight on the top of the head. It does look like it, doesn't it? Wait till you see the pictures that Tracy Reinhardt's done for me. You can see them on her Instagram, Crazy Suburban Mum. She's done one of Scooby and one of Maddie, and they are amazing. She really can capture, it doesn't just look like the dog, it has their personality. So like, Scooby always looks a little bit sceptical, and like he's better than everybody else, because he's a sir, don't you know? And Maddie always looks a bit cheeky, like she's about to ask for a belly rub, and she's captured that perfectly in both of them. Can't see what I'm doing. Okay. Sorry, the light's shining on it at just the wrong angle and I can't see where I've coloured. There we go, that's better. Yeah, love me, love my dog. That's the rule. Let's just do that bit around her eyes. And I think I'll do that in pink and purple because she's female. So if I do this bit around her eyes in pink and purple, it kind of looked like eyeshadow almost. So yeah, let's do that. Oops. Yeah. If my dog doesn't like you, I'm never going to like you. Burnt another round of toast. I love burnt toast. Just add more butter. Is that just me? Are you all colouring along? Working on your own projects? Tracy's busy burning her toast. What are the rest of you up to? Oh, you enjoyed it. It's nice to do some art. I've had so much to catch up on with the live shows and, you know, showing people stuff and getting ready for classes and things like that. This is much more my kind of level, really. Colouring a mermaid, cool. Did you draw her, or was she from a book? Maddie, we're chewing our toenails again, aren't we? Hey. And you, Scooby. You can stop licking as well. Yeah, don't give me the cute face. Okay, I think that's cute. I'm just going to do a bit of this bit here because I think, oh, there's the same colour with a point. Excellent. So what I want, these eyebrows, I want them to kind of stand out a bit, because obviously this is curved. Yep, it's not cheating, it's practice. There's nothing wrong with tracing things to practice your colouring on. Bit jealous you've got onion paper though. Although I do have that lovely ream of Tomo River paper that, what's the name, sent me. Oh, this is what else Bren sent me. Look at these. They're called Three Musketeers, but they're the Musketeers set. Apparently, Musketeers are Milky Ways. But these are the Musketeers Halloween ones. Look at this. They've got blood red nougat. They're very Moorish. Colouring in a Witch. Colouring in the Secret Garden book. Cuddling with the dogs. Well, that's... Oh, the budgies. Yeah, I just set my crow off. As I was saying, I want these eyebrows to look rounded. Did you not realise you put those in, Bren? It says on the packet there. See, Musketeers. So they've got blood red insides. They're the exact same as Milky Ways, it's just they're coloured. They're yummy. Your chocolate tastes different to ours. But I do quite like it. So to get this to look rounded, what I need is to find out which of my two colours is the darkest and what they look like overlapped. I think the golden is the lighter of the two colours. So the golden is going to be in the middle. So I'm going to use the darker on the pointed bits. And the bit where it curves down around the eye. And then I'm going to use the golden brown across the bit that's going to look lighter. which is basically just a strip coming across that way. And then I'm going to use a dark brown. Just along this edge. And blend it up. Can't see what I'm doing, it's all shiny. Need a bit more red in there. A bit of brown. And then I'm going to go in with a white. And just, that's where I want the highlight to be. So I'm literally just going to put a triangle of light in there, like that. Now it's got some shape to it. Oh, you didn't realise they were red inside. They're awesome. They don't taste any different, they're just red inside. Which brown did I use? That one. Copying is good practice. Colouring is good practice. I'm glad more people are getting into it, because it's so difficult sometimes as a teacher to get people to learn how to blend and shade and colour, and to realise that actually that is at least half of getting a picture to look good. Sometimes people tend to think that you have to have a perfect drawing in order to then paint it or colour it and have it look good. And it's really not the case. You can start with the most basic sketch and add colours. If anybody doubts that, go and watch Dee Dee Willingham, Inky Wells, on Ustream. She's on YouTube as well, but that's not live. She does life, well, she does all sorts of stuff, but she does real life portrait type stuff. Very stylised, but still real life. And she starts with the most sketchy outline in white pencil, and then just adds to it and adds to it and adds to it, and it's all built up with colours. And it just proves that if you know how to blend colours, you don't need to know. I mean, she is a fantastic artist anyway. She's very good at drawing anyway. But if you have really good colouring skills, you don't need to be able to draw as well. You can kind of draw as you go along. So go check her out, because she's fantastic. Also, she uses the same techniques as me. She does a wet layer, then a colour pencil layer, and then she adds details in pen afterwards if she wants to. So she's using the same techniques as I do, which is useful for my students to see somebody else do the same thing, but Obviously her technique is a little bit different, but her basic layering is the same. And she has little tips and things that she does with her stuff to make it work. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I want a line across here, going into kind of a triangle shape to get that highlight so that it looks like her eyebrows are a bit rounded. And I'm going to do, with the black, I'm going to do under the eyes here to get the same kind of shading. I'm not going heavy with the black, I'm just kind of making the dark red and dark purple a little bit darker. I'm not colouring black necessarily. There we go. So you can see how the black and the tan now is going to go together to make a, all the different colours are coming together to make a black and tan dog, even though we're not colouring in black and tan. See all those different colours in the black. And her eyelids now look like they go round, and then her eyebrows go around, rather than just having a flat plane that we've coloured in. The next step will be to do the same with this part, but I want it to come that way. So I'll have to follow the shape that way and probably get a highlight around her nose so that the darker pieces are at the back and it comes forward into lighter sections. But I think I'm done for the day for doing talking and things. I need to go and lie down and colour. So I'm going to leave it there for a minute. Again, if you want a copy of this colour book, it's really, really good. It's by an independent artist, Helen Sim. Colouring kitties and other magical beasties, and you can find it on her Etsy, HelenAsiaArt. I'll put all the links down below when the replay comes available. And don't forget, I have a giveaway for one of these as well, for one of you guys. So if you pop over to my blog, I will close that tonight. So when I get up tomorrow, to give everybody sort of 12 hours or so to try and watch, because I know some people are here now live, but there's other people who are in bed at the moment, so I don't think it would be fair to just do it for only the people who are here right now, because I know some of my Australian girls will watch in the morning. So you love colouring, and when you tell people that you love drawing, art, journaling and colouring, etc., they get a strange look on their face and say, "You are how old? Anyone experience that?" Yeah, it doesn't stop me. I've had people tell me to get a real job. I told my mum and my boyfriend both off because of the way they phrased things. It really started to irritate me. Oh, you might have to get you should get a job. And I'm like, I've got a job. I run my own company. I teach. That's what I do. And then they'll be like, oh, well, you don't work though, do you? You colour. Yeah, I work. I work my ass off, actually. But yeah, don't let it stop you. Tell them you're old enough to know better and young enough not to care. Right, so I'm off. Like I said, I will leave the links for this below and also for the giveaway. Go and enter that later. It won't be on straight away. I need to go and lie down and get my equilibrium back. But there will be a giveaway in the next couple of hours up on my blog, rhomany.org.uk. And thank you very much for coming and joining me. Sorry I can't do the full 3 hours today, but it's very difficult to sit up when you've got vertigo. Especially when you're twisting your head around all over the place. No, They've not seen my classes. They watch my vlogs sometimes, but a lot of people don't realise how much goes into teaching. How often do you hear somebody say to an actual teacher who works in an actual school, yeah, but you have all these holidays? What they don't see is that, yeah, you're not in school, but you're at home prepping for the classes that you're going to do when you get back, because you're not going to have time when you get back, because you're teaching all day. And then you're marking work. So during the holidays, you're prepping for classes that you're going to do the next term. People don't see that. You don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work and spend 10 hours at your desk being told off by a boss and then go home feeling exhausted. So therefore you don't work. Anyway, I am off now. Thank you very much. And I will see you again Wednesday if you're coming to Witchy Wednesday, and next Saturday if you're not. Bye.